Hello. Welcome back to my corner of the multiverse. This is your Hump Day Guilty Pleasure, the Salty Goddess podcast. And I'm Margaret. Kindly share, download, subscribe, and follow. And seek us out on all social media platforms. We're around, dropping those salty truth bombs at every opportunity. I want to thank you all for joining me again this morning, or this evening, or whenever you decide to tune in. And I want to touch base on this 3-episode arc that we've been doing. So 2 episodes ago, we talked about assessing confidence-led and ego-led situations, behaviors, relationships. Last week, we explained the audit, how to audit yourself, and of course, suggested strongly that you should also audit others, those that you allow within your realm, within your queendom or kingdom, whatever it may be, and who you allow into your court. Because the things that you listen to around you start to become who and what you are. So we want to make sure that we are surrounding ourselves with as many individuals that are just as confident-led or as close to it as possible. Because being ego-led as an adult is exhausting for those around you. And honestly, it's infantile. Like as we age, we're supposed to grow from our experiences, grow from knowledge and understanding of our environment, of those around us, of those that we care about. So the core question today is, what behaviors do you need to practice so confidence becomes your default instead of ego showing up like, I don't know, an emergency generator, backup generator when the power goes out? Because confidence is not a mood. Confidence is practice. Confidence is life. It is, it's so freeing. Can I just tell you that? It is so freeing. When you finally become the confident you are free from the chains of others' opinions. And that's absolutely fucking amazing. And I wish every single person on the planet could have this when they're 12, when they're 8. But it's not how our personalities, develop. So we can't have it. Not all of us anyway. But there's a line out there that says, when they say it the first time, believe them. Believe them. I was 8 when my father said to me for the first time, Annie, you can do absolutely anything you put your mind to. Why? I believed it when I was 8. I believed it when I was 13. But somewhere between 13 and 22, I lost it. And it took me a few years to get it back. And when I did, was it awesome? Let me tell you. So, confidence is not a mood. It's literally a way of life. And you're going to be shocked at how easy it is to turn from being ego-led to being confident-led. So I know that I can lead you to the fountain of confidence. But I also know I can't waterboard you with it to make you self-aware. You have to sip from it yourself, willingly, without any influence. Do it yourself. Because that then and only then Is it real confidence? You can't do something somebody else tries to make you do. You have to want it for you. So let's work on those things. I'm going to talk about a few behaviors because I'm not just about pointing out the issues here, okay? I'm not just about showing you how you are confident-led or how you're ego-led. I want you to have actionable items that will help you repair or to improve these things as well. And that's the difference between some individuals and others. I want to give you the tools for your toolbox because I was absolutely fortunate that I had someone who gave me tools for my toolbox. And I understand that my lived experience is not everyone else's. I was extremely fortunate to have a father that shared with me all of these tools that I have. Now, did he give me every single one of them? No. Some I got from mentors. Some I picked up from colleagues and from friends and from some other family members. Okay? But this is important. Not every single person has gone through life and lived the same way that I have. I have been extremely fortunate. So now I'm not going to be a gatekeeper. I'm going to share those things with everyone else. So let's get down to brass tacks and discuss a few behaviors. There's many. And if you choose to research these and look for others than the ones that I'm going to lay out here today, that is perfectly fine. And I fully expect that you're going to share those things back with me. Send me a text, an email, send something on social media and let me know what other behaviors or other, activities help you to increase your confidence. So, what are we going to do? Some of the I'm going to give you five behaviors today to help you go from being ego-led to confidence-led. So, tell the truth. Ego survives in distortion or omission of the truth. Whereas to be confident, you have to be truthful. So the first behavior you must learn is to tell the truth faster, not just to others, but especially to yourself. That inner voice that speaks to you. That means saying things like, I don't know. I was wrong. Or I'm feeling defensive because I feel exposed and other people will know that I was wrong. Other people will know that I do not know. I may have feelings of resentment or jealousy because when I compare myself to others, which is something you should never do, by the way, you feel behind. It makes you feel inadequate. Don't ever compare yourself to someone else. You have no idea where they started this race. You have no idea what tools have been afforded to them to assist them in getting to where they are faster than what you had available to you at the time. All right? That doesn't mean you need to resent them or be jealous of them. Admire it. Be inspired by it. And allow yourself to stop competing with other people. Compete with who you were this morning, who you were before you had lunch, who you were yesterday, and improve on yourself. That's the best competition ever. Best. Okay? I over-explain things because I'm trying to avoid accountability. Don't do that. All right? Ego omits the truth. They delay the truth because truths they believe threaten their image. Whereas confidence will welcome the truth because the truth shows them what they can improve upon, and it shows that they're willing to be open to improving. It helps create a map. So the faster you tell the truth, the faster you can correct the behavior. And we know this is true. Even when we're training people, as an example, holding an EMT class and someone's going through, we'll say just patient assessment. The moment they make a mistake, you stop and say, that was a mistake. That was an error. Let me show you why it's an error. Because if you allow them to continue the behavior that's wrong, that is how they will remember it. It's called muscle memory. So you want to correct the behavior as quickly as possible. I hope that makes sense. So the faster you tell the truth to yourself, the faster you can correct the untoward behavior, the one that you don't want, the one that you don't want. So what is the truth? Even if the truth doesn't flatter you, you don't have to open your mouth in a group of people and be like, oh yeah, that truth is true, but it doesn't make me look very good. You don't have to say that out loud, but you can know it inside your brain, inside your mind. So stop narrating events like a fairy tale version of your behavior and, an image. Read the real report, the facts, the data, not the emotional side, the facts and the data. You either do or do not know something, right? You either did something correct or you did not. That's data. There's no emotion in that. And when you do take accountability, this would be step 2. When you do take accountability, own it. When you provide clean accountability, it means that you're no longer stapling excuses for your behavior. Like you think that it's some kind of get out of jail free card, because it's not. Confident-led people can say, I missed that. I'm sorry, I interrupted you. I made that about my intent instead of about the impact of what I've said or done. I was defensive. I was overreacting. I did not handle that well. I am sorry. I'm going to try this and see if it helps if I do this differently. That's it. No courtroom drama, no theatrical suffering, no you saying, oh, I guess I'm just a terrible person then. You should probably not even be around me anymore. That's, what? Nobody wants, no. Clean accountability is one of the fastest ways to build confidence because it teaches your nervous system a couple of things. You can be wrong, and everybody in the group isn't going to shun you, and you're worthy. Period. You'll find that out very quickly. And then, you know what happens? Everybody jumps in to give you what you need because people want to be helpful. All right? And then now you know something that you didn't know, and that builds your confidence. And it builds your confidence to know that if you don't know something, other people don't look at you and think, wow, they're dumb. Or wow, how'd they get that job if they don't know that? Or I hope they don't pay that much. Nobody is thinking that about you. When you say, I have no idea. I have no idea in the world. None whatsoever. I love it when people teach me something new. I love learning new things every single day. Okay? That's me though. But I'm old as dirt, so I've had a lot of years of practicing building my confidence. Okay? I'm not 22 anymore. Okay? I know my knowledge. I know my education. I know facts and data. And I'm okay if I can say to somebody, I have never heard of that. Specifically, Let's talk about the hantavirus. Real quick, just for a second. How many of y'all knew that there was a version called the Andes strain and that it's transmissible from human to human? And that it's been around, recognized, acknowledged, and seen in the United States since 1993. Guess what? I didn't know that. As a matter of fact, the first thing I thought immediately was, uh-oh, is this another one of them gain of function stories? Mentioned it to a very, very knowledgeable woman who told me, oh no, it's not that. That's been around. What? I didn't know. And I typed that right back to him. It was a text message. I had no idea. So does that make me dumb? No. Nope. There is no fucking way possible I could know about every single fucking disease, virus, bacteria on this planet and know every single thing about it. I'm human. Get real. And I didn't mind learning. And you know what? After this individual told me, Mel, I could tell a whole bunch of other people. Because I'm not a gatekeeper. Only assholes are gatekeepers. Okay? I didn't feel like a terrible person because I didn't have that piece of information. I'd never been exposed to the Andes strain or to know anything about it. And they sure as shit didn't teach that to me in microbiology 800 years ago when I took the class. Okay? Period. I'm confident that I don't know everything. I'm confident that I will make mistakes. I am confident that it's okay. It's totally okay. You can be wrong. You can perform an error. And you are still all that in a bag of chips and a bucket of dip, my friends. All right? You can own that. Apologize like a grown-ass adult, because that's what the fuck you are. Okay? Build your competence. This is number 3, friends. Number 3. Build competence on purpose. If you feel insecure in an area because you don't have enough skill or knowledge, don't call yourself like that you've got imposter syndrome. Seek out a training plan. Sometimes feeling insecure isn't caused by some trauma somewhere back in your history. Sometimes feeling insecure or off kilter or, not confident is because it's accurate data. Okay? Choose the skill. Figure it out. You don't like public speaking. You're uncomfortable doing that. You're uncomfortable with money management, leadership, organization, any of those things. An area of clinical expertise, certain business systems, whatever the area is, don't perform fake mastery. Start building true mastery. Because confidence grows when your evidence that you are knowledgeable grows. Okay? So stop pretending, put the work in, all right? Get the reps. Do it. I can't say that any better. I explain it to people about how to build muscle memory. When you have like something that you do at work that you only do a few times a year, like maybe run a very specific report or maybe set up somebody in Microsoft Office, I don't know, and you don't do it very often. I usually handle things on the back end with assigning domains to certain website places and etc. I don't do it that frequently. I have to look up the instructions every single time. I have not committed that to memory. Does that make me a failure as a business person? No. You know why? Because I can find the instructions that I've wrote down or actually put in a Word document and put it in my files. My, online files in the cloud, right? So I can get to it from anywhere I'm at. If you're not strong in something, if you can't remember something, make a note. Make a note of it. so that if when you have to go back to it and do it again, you don't have to feel uncomfortable about it. And you don't have to lie about it. You're like, nah, I don't remember how to do that off the top of my head, but I have notes. I have a process doc that tells me exactly how to do it. All right. That's what you do. When you have a deficit, if you're not good at remembering things, set yourself up with a tool so that that doesn't become a handicap and make you feel less confident. Why not use the tools that are available to you? That seems like smart to me. All right. So whatever the area is, grow that evidence. One of the 4 things that you can do is take a moment to regulate and pause before you respond. Whenever you feel like you're being threatened or disrespected or someone has crossed the boundary, I promise you, until you become confident-led, ego is going to snatch up that microphone and start tap dancing in gasoline. Regulation gives confidence the time to enter the room and handle the situation. So sometimes you got to practice pauses and practice even internal pausing phrases like, I need a moment before I respond to that. I can feel myself starting to get a little defensive. I want to answer this accurately and confidently, so I have to think about what I'm going to say. I need to pause just for a moment. And that pause is not avoidance. It's literally self-control, leadership, and confidence. I have to remember, you have to remember this and practice saying this line to yourself. My worth is not on trial. I am not fighting for my life here. I can take a moment and pause to gather my thoughts so that I do come from a confident-led place instead of an ego-led place. All right? Do not let a 12-second trigger write a 12-month consequence. I say this all the time another way by saying, do not choose permanent decisions for temporary situations. Does that make sense? You may not know something today, but given time and the ability to learn it, you might know it tomorrow or the next day. So why would you become defensive about something that you can rectify within 48 hours or less? But when you start to defend, deflect, dismiss, you've left another person on the other side of that with an experience that says, this bitch ain't mature at all. Why are they even here? And that's very difficult to overcome. So just remember, temporary problems do not require permanent decisions. Okay? A flat tire on your car does not require you to wreck the entire car and start from scratch, right? Right. I knew you guys would get that with the car analogy. I knew it. Huh. So how do you build this confidence? Confidence is actually self-trust. And you build self-trust through experience. And you can build it slowly but surely, even just with small little promises to yourself, if you will. This morning, when the alarm goes off, I'm getting up. I am not going to hit snooze. Believe it or not, that follow through and getting up, it builds confidence. It sounds so insanely simple, but it's fact. Your brain is the strongest organ in your body. You can do so much with it. So much with it. Start working it. Trust me. Soon you'll be trusting yourself. And brings me back to the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer's TV show that we watched when we were kids. The Burl and Ives one, or whatever it's called, right? And they have that one song, put one foot in front of the other, and soon you'll be walking out the door. It makes me think of that every single time I have this conversation with somebody. Promise yourself that when the alarm goes off, you're going to get up and then get up. That follow through builds self-trust. Sounds dumb, I know. And you're thinking this bitch has gone off the deep end, hasn't she? Nope, I haven't. Some days, getting up when the alarm goes off might be the only fucking thing you can do that day. And that's all right. Put one foot in front of the other, because forward progress is still progress. Don't forget that. Every single promise that you keep to yourself is a deposit in your own bank account. But every time you break a promise to yourself and you don't repair it, that's a withdrawal from that account. So when you are reconciling your checkbook for self-trust and that account is overdrawn, you will not feel confident because you have a shit ton of fucking evidence that you don't even keep your own word to yourself. You overdrew the whole account on yourself. So start small, tiny even, almost offensively small. Promise yourself you'll drink water before noon. That you'll write those 2 paragraphs of cursive writing that Margaret keeps telling everybody to do because it's important for brain retention, the ability for those, fine motor skills. Make the call you don't really want to make. Send the email you don't really want to send. Take the walk. All right, listen, I'm not real good with physical exercise, so you take the walk. I'll count your steps for you. Set the timer. Ask the questions. Correct the mistakes. Say no to someone once and hold your own boundaries. And for fuck's sake, go to bed on time. Go to bed. If you know you need 6 hours of sleep a night, go to bed so you can get 6 hours of fucking sleep. Period. Believe it or not, your confidence is built through evidence, and evidence is built through repetition. So, every morning when you wake up at 5 a.m. when the alarm goes off, and you get up, you think to yourself, what is one promise that I can keep to myself today? Pick a promise that's so small your ego is even offended, and then keep it. Okay? I'm telling you, those are the things that will build your confidence. And when you are a confident-led person, you're so much happier. So much happier. And you're not spending your most valuable currency worrying about what anybody else really thinks about you because you don't give a shit. All right. So let's move on. Now you're working on building your own self-confidence. Now you're starting to get that dopamine hit, the serotonin. You're like feeling, like you're walking on that rose gold line, diamond encrusted cloud 9. And you feel so great. You want everyone around you to feel just as good as you do. Yeah, you do. So there are 5 ways in which you can help to lead those that are still ego-led toward a confidence-led existence. Okay? And this is actually kind of important because supporting someone's movement toward confidence is a big deal. You can model the behavior. You can create conditions in which other people feel safe to say that they were wrong or that they made an error. Okay? And I'm going to tell you, before I became confident led, I also could not admit that I made an error. And I would not ask for assistance. I would figure it out on my own. Because somewhere in my upbringing, as phenomenal as I feel my father really was, there were some things he shared with me that left a mark on me that were really, honestly and truly, not necessarily the best thing. Like, never let them see you cry. Never let them see you sweat. Don't ask anybody for help. It makes you look weak. Wrong. That's wrong. And I love my daddy. And I'm going to tell you, I love 95% of the things this man shared with me, gave me for tools and the rest of it. But there are some things that he gave me that kind of left me not being the best me. Okay? I often never used to ask for help. And that meant I struggled really hard with a lot of things. I didn't let people see me sweat, and I never let them see me cry. So much so that, honestly, I don't cry anymore. Haven't in a long, long time. All right? Because you can actually screw that shit up. Get it right. Okay? So, create conditions in which other people can feel safe saying that they don't know something or that they've made a mistake and they want to make it right. Model the behavior of being a confident-led person and say those things. But I have to tell you that even though you support someone else, you can create conditions and model behavior and invite them to learn these things. You can bring them here into that fountain, if you will, but they have to do the transformation themselves. You're not their emotional valet. You're not their therapist, unless, of course, you really are their therapist. You're also not a self-esteem wet nurse. Okay? You can lead. You absolutely can lead. But you cannot force feed and you cannot waterboard. So, model confidence-led behavior. Be correctable. Own your mistakes. Apologize appropriately. Celebrate other people's successes, even if they're not yours. Okay? Ask questions that clarify information when you misunderstand. Set boundaries in a calm fashion and don't weaponize it and use it as punishment. And stay regulated during conflict. Those are absolute confidence-led behaviors. Let others see what confidence looks like in motion. Because believe it or not, I said earlier in this episode that not everyone has the same lived experience, right? Because some ego-led people have never seen confidence. They haven't. Maybe they've been raised and managed and married to siblings of the most narcissistic, gaslighting, manipulative motherfuckers on the planet. They don't know what a confident-led person looks like or behaves like. They're literally starting this journey at what I would call the deepest of deficits. Because when they see it, they have a very difficult time believing it. Because the ego-led operating system is what they've always known. Don't laugh at me when I say this. It's almost like iOS and Android users. If you grew up on Android, like looking at an iOS system, you're like, oh my God, this shit's crap. And the same is true for iOS users. Period. So you show them. You might be surprised because they believe that they're being confident because they thought that confidence was being dominating, being loud, micromanaging and being a control freak, all right, or behaving like you're superior to others, show them something else. Show them the truth. The way. I sound like this is the way. Like I'm a Mandalorian or some shit. I'm not. Not at all. Believe it or not. Nope. I'm not some monk. I'm not, the Dalai Lama. I cannot, I still lose my temper. I still sometimes get rubbed the wrong way and I say things I shouldn't say. Absolutely. I'm human, right? But I do apologize. I absolutely apologize. And I don't say, I'm sorry, but I was tired. I'm sorry, I didn't feel well. No, I'm fucking sorry. I should not have done that. I can give you a list of reasons why it happened, but that's not going to change the fact that I just hurt someone's feelings. All right. Now, also, don't be coming at me super sensitive either, because the truth is the truth. Data is data. Okay. So don't get that shit twisted either. I don't know how to sugarcoat a fucking turd. All right. I can't cover it in glitter for you. So don't pull that crap on me either. Sometimes the only way to say something is to just rip the Band-Aid off and say it. And you know what? Anybody in healthcare who's had to do a death notification, y'all know what I'm talking about. How many times have we had to tell somebody that their loved one has died? And we use euphemisms. And we don't say it straightforward. Your loved one has died. And they look at you, they're like, oh, are you saying they're dead? They're dead? That happened to me, actually. When I had to give a death notification to a group of people. And I gave it to them one by one. And because I did not say this individual had died, each one of them actually asked me, are you saying that they're dead? And I'm thinking to myself, how the f*** do they not know that? But they didn't. So sometimes you got to rip the Band-Aid off and say it straightforward. Do you have to be condescending? Do you have to swear at people? Do you have to say something disrespectful or insulting with the truth? No, you don't. So your delivery does matter, but sometimes it has to be frank. Sometimes it just has to be data, and you can't sugarcoat it or soften it. All right? So show them how to be a confident-led individual. And let them know, yes, you've made an error. We've got to rectify that. But listen, don't feel bad about it. I've made errors too. That's a confident-led individual. And that's what I'm talking about. If you are just coming into your confidence-led self and you don't make the atmosphere, the environment easy for people to also be confident-led, that's some jackhole ass behavior. Let them be able to be confident-led too, and show them it's totally okay, and give them the evidence they need so that they can also be confident. All right? Because you want them to handle situations from clarity, not from defensiveness. So, friends, if you're confident-led now, you're going to have to be the grown-up in the room without becoming that emotional wet nurse. Okay? Correct people's behaviors without attacking their identity. Okay? Ego-led people often hear correction and think image assassination. So maybe you correct behavior clearly and not their identity. So instead of saying you are so defensive, you could say, when I gave you the feedback, you interrupted and started to explain before I had finished. It makes it hard to resolve the issue. All right? You don't need to tell someone they're being arrogant. You can say you dismissed the question, and when you did, it came across to everyone else as if you were not really willing to consider anyone else's perspective. It doesn't mean that you coddle them. Oh, I don't like coddling either. Like, listen, there is a Goldilocks zone for all of this. Like the Goldilocks and the Three Bears, that this is for real. You can either be too soft or too hard. Somewhere in the middle lies the sweet spot. So look for the sweet spot. Okay? When you coddle people, that's not good. When you give it to them and the feedback is in that sweet spot, the Goldilocks zone, it is much harder for them to dodge the consequences or to dodge the data and the feedback. If you're too hard, they can base it on your behavior or base it on your attitude. Well, they were being a total dick. So yeah, I'm not going to listen to the thing they said. But if you're too soft, they were like, did they really mean it? I mean, did they just say that for show? Yeah, I don't need to listen to that. So you have to find the sweet spot. Remember that when you're giving that feedback, it's about specific behaviors and the impact of that behavior. And then follow it up with a specific request. Don't leave them hanging. They may not know how to figure it out. Tell them, I'm not attacking who you are. I'm not attacking anything. As a matter of fact, I'm just addressing the situation. Okay? Do not leave enough doubt that ego can reign. Name the behavior with surgical precision. All right? All right. Something else you can do is don't walk into areas and you're having this conversation with somebody. Don't fight with people because ego loves a fight. Don't walk into a courtroom unless you want a trial. Ask questions that interrupt defensiveness, but that invite reflection. What part of what I said feels threatening to you? Is your goal to be right, to be the winner, or is it to resolve this? What part of this can you own? Maybe you don't own the whole situation, right? And what would your response look like if you were answering from your values and your character versus from the version or the image you want others to believe that you have? And is the reaction that you're having right now aligned with who you say you want to be? They're not magic, but they do create a doorway. Confident-led people, confident-ready people see that doorway and walk through it to find what's on the other side. Ego-led people slam it and accuse you of trying to evict them. Just remember, data is data. It has zero emotion. And one of the things that you can say is, I'm asking because I want to repair this rift, this problem. I don't want to win. I don't want to win a debate. I don't want to win a race. I want us to resolve this. I want us to be happy with one another. This is more of an interpersonal thing too, but also in leadership. You don't want people to feel like they lost and that you won. That's competition. And that, I'm going to tell you something. That's some sour grape shit right there. You're not going to get anybody to come to the table and work with you if they think all you want to do is be victorious. You're the manager. You're supposed to fucking be victorious, you dumbass. You're supposed to have all the knowledge that they need. But you're also supposed to be able to admit to them, I don't know. I better find that out for you, huh? Imagine being a leader and saying that in a meeting. I do not know. I do not know. Let me find out. And every single person under you, one of two things is going to be in their mind. The confident-led person is going to say, good for them. I trust that they are going to find out and let us know. The person on the journey to be confident-led will say, look at that. They, in their brain, they're going, they just modeled like confident behavior. They're making this a safe place for me to say, I don't know. Ego-led people will say this. They don't know. What are they, dumb? I wouldn't follow them to an ice cream truck. Seriously. So do you see the different ways that the shifting perspective, just a step or two, a degree or two, can give you a whole different outlook. So when you're auditing others, when you are trying to lead others, ask the question, I'm asking this because I want to repair, not to be victorious. What do you want the outcome of this to be? Is the outcome for you repair or is it victory? When you ask the question, watch whether they reflect or reload. That'll tell you everything you need to know. So another thing that you can do is to reinforce when they do engage and show confident-led behavior. Okay? So when ego-led people actually show confidence-led behavior, let them know that great job. That's exactly what that is. You say things like, you handled that feedback really well. Thank you for the apology. It was perfect. Thank you for asking for clarification instead of, assuming I was attacking you. That really helps. People will repeat behaviors that get reinforced, that get praised, or that get attention. So if someone is learning to move out of ego, they may need a little bit of help recognizing when they're doing it right, so they know they're on the right path. All right? Now listen, don't remember what I said, Goldilocks zone, right? Don't overpraise basic decency like they just walked out onto the world stage and cured fucking Andes strain hantavirus. Okay, not that kind of praise. All right, don't get ridiculous now. Don't overdo it. Don't be extra. No parade, okay, no glitter. But acknowledge progress. It is important. You acknowledge your own progress. Why wouldn't you want to acknowledge someone else's? Okay? All right. So you can say to someone during the meeting, the response you gave was phenomenal because I know it made everybody else feel comfortable being able to speak up and say, what they need help with. That was great. Nothing wrong with that. So my salty take is to water and fertilize the behaviors that you want to see grow. You don't need to throw a parade for every fucking seedling, but do water them appropriately. And then boundaries. This is the fifth one. You cannot lead ego-led people into confidence if there's no consequences for their ego-led behavior. So just as much as you need to praise when they do it right, you need to enforce the boundaries when they do it wrong. Okay? But boundaries are not punishment. You don't go cold shoulder, or the silent treatment or any of that shit. Boundaries are access management. They are discernment. So when individuals get defensive or manipulative, cruel, and dismissive, you limit access to the conversation in a calm manner. You limit access to the project, to the decision, to the information, and even your emotional availability if this is an intimate relationship, family, partners, etc. And you can say things like, I'm willing to continue this when we can both stay respectful. I'm going to I'm not going to keep explaining myself if you're going to keep interrupting me. How about we revisit this when you're ready to discuss the behavior instead of attacking my tone? I am not available for a conversation where accountability is treated like abuse. I care about you, but I'm not going to fight with you about this. Or, and this is important, being able to step away and try later. That is a great boundary because boundaries teach reality. They show that ego-led behavior does not get unlimited access. You don't want them to keep coming at you because it's not going to change anything. So if you're a leader, you say, I'm not punishing you. I'm protecting the quality of this conversation. That's especially important in meetings that get heated, all right? And, you may love a person, but you're not required to sit front row for their emotional circus. And if you work with people, and you may like them a ton, but again, they should not be able to use a meeting as a platform to perform their emotional circus. Shut it down. Shut it down. That's your job. So we've talked about how you yourself can develop behaviors to assist you and how you can help to lead others. The real question is now, you've drunk from the fountain of knowledge and the fountain of confidence, but someone that you brought to the fountain refuses to drink from it. What do? You can lead them to the fountain. You can show them the water, and you can explain to them the benefits of this knowledge. You can even bring a special goblet, a plate, silverware for them to consume this knowledge. You can offer lemon slices and a fucking garnish, but you cannot make them partake of it. And when they refuse, your job is to stop kneeling beside the fountain, begging them to value what they are committed to rejecting. You can't do it. And this is where your confidence becomes discernment. Refusal doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it looks like they agree with you just to end the disagreement, the discussion, okay, and the discomfort that they're in. But then behaviorally, zero changes. Or there's a correction for a few days and then default back to that same behavior. So nothing changes, really. They, weaponize therapy language. They say that they understand and it makes sense what you're saying, but they continue to repeat the behavior, right? I once joked about someone close to me ending up in a nursing home, all right? And it was 1,000% joking. There is a small amount of truth to this person's memory, but I joked about, instead of going here, let's just stop over here and we'll drop off this individual because they need the memory care unit. That individual said to me, please don't ever say that again. That was disrespectful. And I have never said it since. And it's been a few years. That is someone feeling confident enough to say something. And even though it wasn't meant disrespectfully, it was just meant as a joke because something had happened that pointed out this individual's memory deficit. But they didn't think it was funny. So the impact of what I said is far more important than my intent. So bet bitches, I have never said it since. And I won't, because that is their boundary. Why would you say shit to somebody that you know is going to upset them, hurt them? For what value? To land a joke? That's so fucking disrespectful. Don't do that. All right. So, they claim they understand it, but they repeat their behavior. So imagine if after this individual asked me to never do it again, I said, okay, yeah, no problem. I got it. I understand. And then I did it again. What do you think about that? Do you think that the second I do it again, that the impact isn't like double, triple, or quadruple what it was the first time? It is. Because you told them you understood, but you did it again. All right. So again, more refusal looks like they apologize just to end their discomfort and the argument. And they can also demand credit for tiny little progress, but then avoid accountability for the places in which they have made zero progress. Okay. They accuse your boundaries of being mean and your standards of being controlling. They accuse you of thinking that you are superior to them, that you're better than them. Or they scoff and say something along the lines of, this is just how I am. Take it or leave it. Or they'll use a trauma situation as an explanation. But, they refuse to heal, even though that's their responsibility. They want continued access to you without accountability for the things that they do. They want forgiveness without repair. They want closeness without giving you emotional safety. They want leadership at work without growth. Who's going to put somebody in a leadership position who pulls this shit? Someone who cannot even give a pat on the back to someone for attempting something they've never done before. And they have to, provide a very neutral response. Neither praise nor insult. But just that totally flat affect. Yeah, well, I didn't really read it, so I don't know. I didn't really see the whole project. I don't know. Who wants a leader like that? Like that shit. Those things are refusal. So what do you do with those individuals? You don't over-explain shit. You understand? I've already explained this clearly. Not going to do it again. Time is my most valuable currency. And repeating myself is a waste of my most valuable currency. Stop looking at others as their potential. Stop thinking, well, I know they can be so much better. Great. They could, but they fucking won't. So don't confuse potential with pattern. Audit that shit, assess it properly, and be honest about it. Don't lie to yourself. Potential's seductive. Oh, I could win the Mega Millions. Oh, I could be a size 2. Ooh, all those things, that's seductive. Seductive as fuck. But patterns are predictive. People have the potential to grow. They have the potential to become confidence-led. They have the potential to become emotionally mature at any fucking time. Even if they don't decide it for today, they could decide it for tomorrow or next month. That's all wonderful, well and good. But do they? Do they pick up the pattern that gets them that improvement, that accountability, that emotional maturity? Do they take accountability? Do they repair? Do they regulate? Do they respect boundaries? Do they alter behavior? And if not, and this goes for any relationship, whether we're talking intimate partner relationships, husband, wife, wife, whatever, partners, parent, child, sibling, or if we're talking about work relationships. You are not meant to be in a relationship with their potential. You are in a relationship with their pattern. You can honor and recognize someone's potential, but decisions must be based on data. Patterns provide data. So, when they refuse to drink from the fountain, your job is to adjust their access to your throne room, the inner court. Maybe they were in the throne room and now they belong out by the gate or in the moat with the crocodiles. I don't know. Maybe they belong outside the queendom altogether. Access and protecting access and limiting access is not revenge. It is not punishment. Access is protection. So handling access, limiting access is your protection. And you're not punishing them for refusing to grow. That's not it. Okay? You're refusing to let their inability to grow govern your peace. So I am adjusting access based on behavior and data, not on words or anger. All right? You cannot rescue them from consequences. Ego-led people stay ego-led because someone keeps cushioning the landing. Stop it. Don't clean up every mess. Don't explain away their behavior. Don't soften consequences. Do not manage the emotional aftermath of their choices. Don't protect their image at the expense of your own integrity. So this is a work thing. Don't cover for people that aren't fucking doing what they're supposed to. If covering for them is going to mean that you look like you're not, and have any integrity, let reality teach what your words could not. You can care about them, but you cannot protect them from the consequences of their behavior. And then you must release the assignment. Some people aren't your assignment. Sister Diane Marie did not assign you Joe's personal growth as your homework assignment. This is probably the most important thing. You may want everyone to grow and be confident led like you are, but they're not your project. They are not your proof that you're a patient person. Okay? They're not your final exam in compassion. You can love them. You can wish them well. You can hope they grow and still release the assignment because your peace is not what should be relinquished because someone else needs education. I'm no longer responsible, and I'm releasing myself from the responsibility to make you a confident-led person. Okay? So, you can invite them, but you can't force them. You can model behavior, but you cannot perform it for them. They got to do it themselves. You can offer truth, but you cannot make them value the truth. And you can set boundaries, but you can't make them like them or follow them. And you can adjust access because you don't need permission to protect your peace. All right? That's how it works. Now, I know this episode went on forever and ever. It could have been 2 episodes, but I felt it was important that you got all of this information at once. So if you had to take a break halfway through so you could listen on the way to work and then on the way home, I get it. I get it completely. Your homework assignment is to undertake the actions needed to lead a confident-led life and to model the behavior for others and bring them to the fountain. It's not your assignment to make them drink. You can't waterboard them. You can't force feed them. And then you must adjust access. Are they allowed in the throne room? The inner circle? Are they allowed in the outer court? of your queendom or kingdom? Or do you just kind of need to like put them in the moat and start it on fire? That might be the situation. That's a little bit harder to do in a work relationship, but you get the idea. All right. All right. All right, my friends. Go out, build your confidence through evidence. Don't be performative. All right. And I want to thank you all for joining me. I know these have been some long episodes, but I felt they were so important. Be sure to follow, share, subscribe, and download. Come back and see me again every Wednesday for that hump day guilty pleasure. This is the Salty Goddess Podcast. And just think, next week, we're going to start on something new. I'm Margaret. Thank you all for joining me. We'll see you next week.